What's going on, guys? It's Will. Hopefully you're having a great day today. So in this one, happy Saturday, we're going to go over the top AI stocks that we're currently watching. If you have any stocks you want us to take a look at, drop the ticker symbols down below and we'll jump right into it. Now, first thing I want to jump into, if you guys haven't already, we just started to the new offer. It's not working. Here we go. The new offer for Stockmate. So if you guys haven't already, you want to go join our daily live trading sessions, go have a look in the second link below. You can join our daily live trading sessions. And if you use the coupon code is 200 off now, 200 off now. You can actually still lock in the lifetime access for Stockmate. Join us in our daily live trading as soon as Monday at market open. We're there every day live, and you can see my entries and my exits. Now, wouldn't it make sense to pay attention to the markets that are in the AI markets? Absolutely, it is. And one of the different things we've been doing recently is looking at the individual markets, not just in AI in general, but looking at the data center markets. We have some data centers, some hyperscalers to be looking at. You've got APLD and IREN. We've also been talking some of the configurators, TSSI, and we've been looking at NBIS and HUT and BITF. And we've been looking in the quantum market as well. As you've seen some of the recent announcements, you got IonQ, Rigetti, QBTS. There's also, while it's still early in that market and they're trading at premiums, that 17 GPU quantum computing integration that was recently released by NVIDIA, direct from NVIDIA here. Look at that. They're starting to integrate the quantum computers into the data centers. So we're in a world now where some of these companies have been building so much momentum that they're going public. They're starting new initiatives related to data center integration. And so the quantum market is getting a little more momentum in continuation, because if you were to look at just some of the general quantum computing news, you just look at quantum stocks in general, if you just search it up, it's a lot of hype. It's a lot of hype recently. You got promising quantum computing stocks, but the general sentiment has been more positive in the quantum market over the last week than we've seen over the last 2 quarters to 3 quarters. In fact, most quantum companies have sold down. So we're going to talk about it. AI markets, top markets to be watching in 2026 include the data center market. You have drone tech, defense, semiconductors are big time. I was just talking with an investor who invests in the ON Semiconductor. They recently had earnings, and they've also run up big time over the last few months. Taiwan Semiconductor, when I first started, and I was just getting started investing, one of my best investments I've made, aside from NVIDIA, was semiconductor market stock called TSM, Taiwan Semi, because I knew that they were building the semiconductors for NVIDIA, and they still are, and powering companies like Apple and others. And so robotics is a big wave as well. We're going to see more AI robotic stocks we're going to cover here. And then you got space tech, even some AI companies there. And then just, again, general AI and large language models. So TSSI jumped 16% this last week. Really big move. We've been talking about that company for quite some time. Some of the reasoning behind why we really like this company is because, number one, the market of data centers is growing. They've had a lot of data center growth, and they're configuring the data centers. But then number two, their financials have been improving. If we were to search up TSSI here, you could see that their equity and their growth from a financial perspective has really improved. Okay, so their financials have gone up to over 165 million in their balance sheet in the last quarter they reported. Annually, you've seen some growth. And then income statement wise, look at that. They jumped in 2024 to 150 million, and then on track in 2025 to come out with over $300 million, and their market cap is still only at 246 million. And they're in the data center market, they're in the AI market, really good market to be in. BlackRock, Vanguard, all these companies are buying. State Street did sell some shares, but you see Jane Street buying, and the insiders. If you look at the insiders for TSSI, there has been some selling. In fact, just getting the summary here from Grok on what's going on in the insiders. There's been about 25 sells versus 11 buys. So that's something to consider, that there was more shares sold on the insider side. But nevertheless, just keeping in mind the growth of the company and their financials look really good. So let's get into it. What are the top ticker symbols you guys are watching in the AI market? Very curious to know where the attention is at right now. And what are the top companies you guys are focused on in the AI market that you're curious about and that you're following? All right. So there's some good comments. One of them here, you got guitar bass singing, or bass singing, guitar bass singing. Why APLD over the rest, you say? So APLD is a data center company that has been building out data centers for CoreWeave, which is another large hyperscaler. They've got about $16 billion in contracts, and they have recently really grown from a financial standpoint, but also just from an infrastructure standpoint, as they're working with Supermicro, Intel, Dell. They work with NVIDIA, but NVIDIA recently took their investment out of the company. But why would you compare APLD, or why would you say over all the rest? It's not over all the rest. I cover it more. Is it over all the rest in my eyes? Personally, it doesn't really matter. I mean, in my eyes, what I think about it, the facts are that I would like to put the best companies that are growing in front of you. And so if you're not, getting quality companies, like let's say we search a company that got way more liabilities than assets, there's no integrity around the company, it's all hype, then I don't want to put that in front of you, right? So my goal here is to reveal the top AI companies, but ultimately, there's a lot of great companies, and they all have a story. And ultimately, when you're investing, you get good at investing. You have a lot of companies sometimes. Some investors do this too early, and they end up diversifying, and it's really like diversifying. They have 20 plus stocks, and they don't even know what the stocks are. Sure, that happens. It's not good. But there's other instances where some really great investors that I've been working with that are in the couple $100,000 to, they're trading too. They're trading stocks, and it's sometimes over $1 million in their portfolio. And those traders and investors take the 20 stocks that are really quality, and they have researched them, and they're looking at the story that plays out. Takes a little bit, but some of them, that didn't quite fit the story of what we were expecting. Okay, maybe you cut that one. Or, this one's really starting to fit the story. It's really fitting the bill of what we expect for a company, and so we can buy more of that company. And so it really comes down to, do I know the exact first best stock for the AI markets? No, I like to think that I know the top 5. I like to know the top 10. But also, that's why I started the call asking you guys. You guys give me really good insights into which companies, because I can analyze them for you. But ultimately, Applied Digital, they got positive equity. The income statement is roaring. Again, they're up in revenue to 126 million in the last quarter. Annually, they've been growing. And while they've had some shakiness over the last few months, their market cap is still fairly low, around 8 billion, when they got 15 billion in deals, 16 billion in deals. So they still have a lot of room to run potentially. That's why I like APLD here. And the future chart for them, it is volatile. I was looking at some near-term volatility, some sell downs potentially, but they got a $7 support here according to Grok, and then bullish into the next 6 months and 1 year. So yeah, APLD, one of the top data center companies for sure. Guitar Bass Singing says that you didn't get the email on Friday for the live at market open session. Yes, we did buy APLX. Huh. Best course of action for you. Sorry about that, man. You didn't get the message. I would pull up your account, but I don't want to expose any of your personal information. But I'll talk to my team. If you got one of the emails before, but then didn't receive it on Friday or something, then just check your promotions and check your spam for an email that's titled "We're Live," and then you can find that daily live trading session. You get an email there in the morning called "We're Live." What up, Johnny? How are you doing, man? How are you doing? Good to see you. Okay, other stock, BKSY. So Biggie's saying BKSY is a top one. So data center markets, once again, would like APLD, one of the top ones. IREN is a big one as well. They've signed some recent deals, IREN, that we've been following. So we're going to be following them this next week. But space stocks, Black Sky is in the AI market, and they've been growing their contracts big time. They've actually jumped in contract values more than we were expecting. They have these extremely high resolution satellites that they're deploying that are viewing things going on down on Earth. And their approach is that they can track cars, people, planes, boats, the ports, probably even your face down here on Earth with really high quality satellite images. And they recently came out with some news that they have. If you guys haven't seen, have you checked this out? They just came out here, their full year 2025 results here, and their financials. And what they came out with was about $35 million in revenue with almost positive net income. So their revenue increased, which is really good. We were looking for that increase in revenue, which was expected, and maybe even better into next quarter, because not only did they have the baseline that they built, but they also secured multiple contracts after the point at which they were able to still report inside of their earnings. So they just reported earnings, but what they were able to report wouldn't include some of their recent deals that they've signed. There's a new 8-figure contract, so that's over $10 million plus they just signed there. And that was on February 17th. Then they also signed a 7-figure contract on February 12th. And then in February on the 3rd, they also signed a 7-figure contract. So yeah, Black Sky's news looks really good. Take a look at that. You can track all the cars down on Earth. And we're actually working on integrating some of this into Prophecy in the next few months, which is the ability for you to see down on Earth and have the AI analyze, let's say, oil or the ports and what's going on down on Earth, the traffic, the weather, and analyze it and apply it to the analysis of different stocks that you're getting projections for, and that the AI, whether you're using Grok or you're using OpenAI or Claude or you're using Gemini, you can be sure that they are using that data in the analysis of the stock that you have pulled up. And so that's really where we're going, and I'm really excited for that. We also have some other things rolling out that are just going to blow your guys' mind around setting up like analysts that will essentially do research for you, paired with templates that are built to do the research the exact same way that we do it. So going through the technical analysis, the news, the fundamentals, the financials, the balance sheets, all that stuff for you. I'm really excited to see that. And so if you ever want to tune on in there, you want to get started, you can always see me use it live. I use it every day, market open, second link below. That's our daily live trading. Or you can also take a look at one of our recent videos yesterday where we did a coverage on it. But yeah, so for Black Sky, like when you're looking at the satellites, and again, the data is so valuable. I'm just telling you like what we're doing. But imagine what other people are doing with that data, whether it's the stuff that's going on in Iran. A lot of countries are now backing the US, and that now there's some serious toiling going on with Iran. There's been some strikes, there's been some attacks recently now. And so what we're seeing is some more tensions building in that area. And what type of technology is really helpful in that instance, which also, by the way, we might see that impact the market either positively or negatively. It's kind of interesting. Bitcoin is doing really well today after some of that news in Iran. I don't see the super negative downside for this next week, but we might see some impact from the Iran war and what's going on over there this next week. And that's why we'll just keep that monitored. And by our Sunday stock talk tomorrow night, when we do that, we're usually there at 5:30 p.m. Pacific time on Sundays. If you guys want to tune on in tomorrow night, we'll be there. And that's where we'll break down some of the top stocks for the week as well. And that will give us some more pre-market or, the after hours data. And we'll start to see how things are shaping up for the week. And that's really, really valuable. But some of the projections for Black Sky here, Biggie, you see 1 year up 25% from Grok. If we look, I'd like to check the multi-model as well, which we can kind of look at here. The multi-model will give us a good view here. Look at that. So it's pretty mixed over the next month. You got, Gemini's bullish 8%, whereas Claude is down about 5% in its projection. A little bit mixed here into the next month. We also have, some bullish outlook here for Grok into the next 6 months, looking about 15% gain on Black Sky. So overall, though, a lot of the projections very bullish. We just saw Black Sky recently pull back, and then now they came out with pretty good earnings and still building their setup. And so what they did, they're building their pipeline of deals, but they pulled down all the way to 1750. And now that they're at 1750, they've broken some of the pattern. You can see they're in this downtrend here, kind of selling down. See this? Got that downtrend where they're getting rejected, and that started back in January. And then in that downtrend, you also have this here, right? So it's kind of like, oh, all right, are they going to sell down even further? But here's the thing. That's the smaller downtrend. They bounced at 1750 on Friday, yesterday. And then into the bounce, they jumped back to 1875. So they're up to 1875, which means they already recovered after their earnings that came out, because they didn't have really bad earnings at all. It looked pretty good. It's probably one of their best earnings that we've ever seen. If you look at their in Prophecy, look at some of those projections. Once again, it's just beautiful. Look at that multi-model view of all the projections here. Pretty mixed, but yeah, pretty bullish for the most part into the next 6 months and into the next year for the stock. Why is that? Why do all the models project over 20% plus? They're not biased. They're just giving all the data. Why is it they're so bullish? A little mixed in the near term right here. You can see that because of the earnings. So the earnings just came out. And so if we want to look at the financials and the earnings that just came out, I can go over to Prophecy. I could see here the equity, and you could see that their income statement has really been rising. And so from a financial perspective, they're doing not bad at all. So then you get back into the chart and you see them pulling down that downtrend. Oh, it doesn't look so hot. You see this? But the longer term, so this is the shorter term, like last month of downtrends. But we've been covering this stock and we've had returns on this stock of over 150% in 2025. So I'm not a person that's just brand new to this stock. I know Biggie just randomly brought it up here, but we're actually heavily traded, probably because Biggie's a community member and has seen us been trading it for the last year. I see Biggie in the live chat almost every day. What's going on, Biggie? Good to see you here. And I know your name's not Biggie, isn't it? Isla or something like that, but because your username is Biggie, I call you Biggie. It's what it is. It's what it is. I could say haha no Biggie every single time, but it's just the username, So this is the thing, Biggie. You got an overall uptrend. And so the overall uptrend is really good. You get this overall uptrend, and they have grown from $3 a share to now $18 a share. And I remember I was working with one of my clients that's got a couple $100,000 in their portfolio, and they're well spread between a lot of AI companies. And his name's Rich, and I was on the call. You guys know I go by Will Rich as well, so we could hit it off there. He's a business owner, and one of the things he was showing me is that he was really bullish on Black Sky, and he paired it with like Planet Labs and a bunch of other AI companies that we had here that we've been going over the last year. And he saw that it took a lot of patience, but when we did that call, it was probably around $7-8 a share. And that run that they had continuing up was 187%. And then we've seen them continue up 100%, go back down 100%, and now they're back down to the support. They're right at the 200-day moving average. So currently still bearish in this trend. You can see them selling down, but in the longer term trend here, you can see this is a pattern. They might just drop below it. It does happen. But if they're going to hold this overall long-term trend, a lot of times this 200-day moving average, the green line, will act more or less as a support level. And so as they approach it and they're starting to break back above it, they are going to be targeting up into this $25 to $35 range, which is about a 50 to 100% increase potential on BKSY. So I really like the company. They got great financials. They've got good technology and good contracts, more contracts than they would have expected, that we expected, that they just signed in the last few days after this earnings that they just came out with. So in the next earnings, they're probably going to crush it. Probably. But we'll see. Nevertheless, I do hold that company long-term in my Schwab portfolio. It's been a volatile ride, but we also love to buy this company and capitalize on the dips. So we'll see if any opportunities present themselves next week for this one. All right. Car basing, it says IonQ to the downside may be a good trade. Okay. If it's to the downside, then I don't know, maybe it's not a good trade. But if it is IonQ, which we know has recently been selling off huge, got IonQ selling down big time. Let's see where they're at. IonQ has sold down from $80 a share down to $35 a share. And we have a support level that we were just mapping out a few weeks ago here, right around this $32 price point, this level here. And they did end up bouncing that. It's been a couple weeks, but last we were doing analysis on IonQ, they were consolidating from left to right. They were going and just holding on a support level, just like this, kind of holding on a support level, kind of downtrending, trying to figure out what they were going to do. And then they came out with good news in the quantum market. You had INFQ go public, which that one's been super volatile. I didn't want to cover it because I know that there's a lot of downward pressure on them after an IPO. So that's why I just haven't covered it. I want to keep that out of mind until we start to see it have a support. Some people are like, Will, cover this stock, cover this stock. I'm like, look, I'm not going to cover it because it has so much attention, and it's not a real attention. It shouldn't be something you're really paying attention to. In my 12 plus years of investing, 9 times out of 10, the best investments are going to be the ones that you're looking at it and you're saying, how come nobody's talking about this? What is going on here? Nobody's even noticing this. Those are going to be the best investments, almost 90 plus percent. I would say 85%. Because, 15% of the time, I'd say, does it work out well if you are buying a stock that is hyped up? Like probably about 15% of the time, it works. Now, there's other factors that influence that, like obviously in the market that you're seeing the company grow in, if the market's in a good spot, AI market's growing, or you're in the oil and gas market when Iran is getting attacked and oil and gas is starting to surge, yeah, that might be good. And that, or bad, it can affect it. And then there's also other pockets or components that it affect it. And ultimately, for you to get a good outcome, you got to consider each one of those components. So there's other components like the financials. So you might see that with a company like IonFQ that everybody's talking about it and they're getting hyped up, but they also have some good financials. They actually got really good financials, or they have bad financials. That's going to be playing against them. That's a component that will influence the outcome of the stock big time. And if you just look at the story as well, the story is it tying together and showing that the stock is following through on what we expected for them to follow through on, and that the infrastructure they're building actually pays off, or the product they're putting out is actually turning into more revenue, or whatever it may be. Those things are all these like components, and I share all of that stuff on how to basically optimize for each outcome inside of StockMate as well, but here on YouTube as well. But if you want some sauce to see it live at market open, we're there every day, Monday through Friday. Second link below if you guys haven't tuned on in before for StockMate. And we have a huge sale there. It's not getting better than this. Go have a look. Simply take a look at the second link below if you want to tune on in. We also send a free t-shirt, a free StockMate t-shirt there for everybody that joins. So it's kind of a 10 out of 10 offer. When it comes to the other, we got good evening. Alvin's here. Alvin, what's going on? Good to see you, man. All right. You're the Frenchie from Boston. What's up, man? Haven't been there. What's the impact of the Iran war on BBAI overall market? Defense companies might be all right. We're going to see defense companies have a lot of downward pressure from the decreased spending and some of the problems they're having in the Homeland Security spending. They even had like partial government shutdown with the Homeland Security bill, or the not billing, the funding. And so if you look at the defense market, they've been beat down. Palantir recovered on Friday, but Palantir has been selling down big time. Look at that, very consistent downtrend on Palantir. And CTM was doing all right. They were kind of bouncing back up to around $1 a share. Big Bear AI hasn't seen real much. They've been selling down as well, from $4 down to $3.67. But Big Bear AI also is having that story that we're talking about. Their financials haven't fully heated up. So that's a component where the outcome is iffy. It's not bad, but it's iffy. However, their news has been an outcome that would be really positive, because they've acquired some companies that will impact their financials potentially in their next quarter very positively, because they acquired some companies in the last 3-6 months. They were already doing hundreds of millions of dollars. One of them is doing $25 million a year, and that's Ask Sage, and they're already in the government space. So they acquired that company. There's another company they acquired as well. And the anticipated revenue of where they're anticipating that to go is to get them to sustain income and revenue that's going to be greater than where they're currently at, obviously. But also their current financials, Big Bear AI has really good outlook on the balance sheet, because they've grown their capital to deploy and do things like acquire companies. So they're going the acquirement route. But they're in national security. They work with UAE. They work with United States. They work with Homeland Security. They work with Department of Defense. They work with Air Force. They're a partner with Palantir. They're a partner with Redwire as well, so in the space tech market. They work with Delta. They even work with the Washington Commanders, and I think maybe the New England Patriots or something. And they do the biometric facial scanning, and they also have the Panama Canal that they work in as well. But what they did is they actually minimized their net income negative. They went positive last quarter, but they still, so it doesn't look as promising on the revenue. It's like, oh, the revenue's only at 33 million. That only went up 1 million over one quarter. But comparatively, their costs were 261 million the previous quarter, but in this last quarter, their costs were only 30 million. So they ended up with a positive net income of about 2.5 million. So those are things to consider. The financials, these are the types of numbers generally good financials in the balance sheet, poor income statements. They don't have the revenue yet. Institutional buys look bullish. You can see this on the right. BlackRock buying, Vanguard is buying, State Street is buying. But chart looks bearish as well. So the chart is still bearish. They've recently sold down. There's that possibility that they pull one out and they continue to ride this trend upward, and that they continue from this $3 a share here back up into that $7 to $8 range. But their fair value is around $4 a share, which is where they are now. The RSI is oversold, the MACD is oversold, so they might be targeting up to around 150, and that's where they're kind of bullish, up to 150. So there you go, BBAI. They've got the support level potentially, and they've got the downtrend still here, but they're still playing the waiting game if you're looking on a short-term trade. And on a long-term investment as well, they're still kind of in the waiting game. All right, how's it going to look? It looks good long-term as far as infrastructure, and it looks good as far as their capital they've built, but you need the news and you need some of those other components to work for you. What's up, Stockmates? What's going on, El Coco Loco? Hey, I really appreciate that testimonial that you sent over. Hopefully that's okay. I could share that. I don't want to share sensitive info, but I saw that you sent a testimonial. You were able to grow 2% more than when you were going just on a brokerage deal that you had going. And by using Prophecy AI, you've been able to grow your portfolio positive, and you actually increased, made like $2,000, increasing your portfolio, even when the market had the February slump this last month. So that's cool, man. Appreciate it. Thank you for sharing that. NVIDIA just got the green light to sell its H20 AI chips to China. Yeah, we did see some increased, or I guess not increased, lax/lenience on the GPUs to China, which will be most likely better for the defense markets related to technology, because some of the defense companies were slightly limited as well. It was not just semiconductors, and semiconductors got leniency as well. So you're going to see potentially more revenue. There's a big revenue gap from some U.S. companies not being able to do anything with other countries in that area, particularly China, because of the not wanting to release the technology, our GPUs and things like that. So that's recently had some changing in the administration, and some policies that have recently gone through are looking to optimize the revenue really for these semiconductor companies. They're going to see great revenues from China and other places. So that's going to be good. Veritone, I don't personally cover that one, Nudie, because of the because of the manipulation. It's just so damn crazy, I guess, how people hype up a lot of stocks that are manipulated. And it's really my goal to make sure that we have integrity on the channel. And so when it comes to Veritone, I know that some people maybe had success, but we were getting, everybody was saying to cover it even in December 2024. I remember when I was doing this little spiky thing here up to $4 a share. And I just looked at Veritone from, a financial perspective, but also from their company perspective. You can take a look at the finances. Yeah, they got the revenue there. Balance sheet though, pretty small levels of real growth. And then also, while they had some DoD trade win solutions, things like that, their expenses to me just way too high for a company that's doing software. Is this the right one? That's Veritiv. Hold on. I'm like, that's not the right financials. There we go. Veritone. Here we go. There we go. Yeah, negative net income. I mean, how do you spend $50 million when you're a software company in AI? I mean, look, I get it. We have an AI. This is my company right here that I'm showing you right here. Prophecy AI. We're doing it. We're searching projections from all these different AI models, and I'm getting the nearest support levels, getting the full analysis of different stocks. I can get the AI summary of these different news articles. I could see the different markets and see all the companies and individual markets built out here with AI. And the AI continues to build on this. I can see all that here. And it's my company. And look, I'll tell you, as an AI company today, if you are an AI company, it's just poor management. If you're running look at all the projections for Prophecy. It's so bearish on this company, Veritone, because of the, really the fundamentals. But you could see, I've been talking about this for a while, but so many people were hyping up this stock, Veritone. And I'm like, guys, it's just, look at the financials. All right, so let's go back. Take a look at the financials here. Look at that. They've had a lot of quarters where their liabilities are basically almost totally as high as their assets. And then the income statement's still negative. I'm like, how do they spend, hundreds of millions of dollars a year when they're in the AI software and they're still not like profitable? It just didn't make sense to me. So that's why we don't do it. Hopefully that makes sense. And with all respect, like, keep going, doing what you're doing. I just don't cover stocks that manipulate much. I just seen it. I've seen it so many times. I won't cover it anymore. So that's one. We'll just move on. We're gonna move on. There are stocks that get manipulated. Even BBAI has had manipulation in the past, no doubt about it. But the story and the real tangible, real world usage of the company is, that's where you want to look, because the profits are one thing, financials are one thing, but you want positive balance sheets, which they have, and you want infrastructure that actually is real. And so sometimes companies use like 3D pictures or AI generated products that aren't even real, and they're like, this is what we're building. It's like, is this a startup fest, or is this actually the stock market? I get it. Any company can go in the stock market technically, even if they're losing money, but it's like, it's just, you got to be careful. You got to be careful. Ryan says, can't wait for Monday. Gonna be a big chance. I got something for Ryan. This is so important, Ryan, because I saw you send a message, Ryan, about your losses that you had recently. And I was looking at it and I was like, oh, Ryan, just what I went over a minute ago, man, is the same way when you're running Ryan's one of the top Roto-Rooter franchisees in the world. What are you, number 2, number 3, Ryan, of Roto-Rooter, right? The plumbing, right? It is plumbing, right? I think it's plumbing. And it's either plumbing or electrical. I think it's plumbing. I don't want to mess it up. Sorry, Ryan. But I've seen them around. I see the trucks all the time. And one of the things that's so important, so Ryan just said, do you adjust stop loss all the way up, Will? Really important, right? So if you're having losses, you could be correct. Because this is the thing, Ryan, how many trades have you had where you've said, oh, I think it's going to go up, you might set a stop, you end up losing money, and then it hits the place where you thought it was going to go, right? That happens. It's part of the game. But I'll tell you, if you consistently manage your risk, you're going to put yourself in a position where you're always, throughout time, going to win. Throughout time, you will win. In the short term, you might have losses here and there. But by managing risk and having a stop set that is managing a risk so you only lose 2% to 3%, but you're going for 10%, 15% margin for profit, especially in the AI market where things can move so crazy, you have to manage risk. You have to. Otherwise, because this is why, let me show you guys something. Let me show you something. So this is something we're working on right now. Let me see if I can, if I can show this to you guys here. This is technically not supposed to be public here. So let me see if I can pull this up here. Wow, 12. All right, so I can't pull this up at the moment, but I will, well, I might be able to. Let me see what I could do. Let me see what I can do here. Let me show you the difference between having, or I'll just send a link, guys. If you want to know how to use strategy, is the key to have, right? You want to not just have analysts and have a really nice projection, but you want the system. All right. So apply a system and you will never go broke. Systems ensure, like, there's this great quote and it says, successful people don't rise to the level of their talent, they fall to the level of their systems. Right? You know that. It's like when you go out and you're going to open a Roto-Rooter, a new Roto-Rooter, Ryan, do you make sure that you're minimizing the risk? You know the upstart costs, you check the markets, you're looking at how much are we willing to put into this thing and all this? Yeah, you look at that. And so you have to apply the same strategy and risk to your investing, or you can get into things that will be like, for example, opening up a Roto-Rooter in a small town that has no demand or something like that, right? It's like not going to work. I don't know if that's the problem. I don't know much about that industry, but I would imagine that's going to be something that's a problem. And so hopefully that's helpful for you, but like, just keep going, keep trusting the process, and keep realizing that alongside these projections that you get for an AI projection, you'll be better off if you have a plan for your entry and your exit. Oh, real quick. So this is something, Estilo, good to see you here. Nicholas, what's going on, Nicholas? ONDS, defense companies. Yeah, I love that. Randall, have you checked SPAI? Yeah, I have that one written down. So let me double write that down. RZLV, I wouldn't touch personally. They have more liabilities than assets. Whoever just commented that one. You can though, by all means. Steve says the Ask Sage was good. Exactly. They got a new acquisition. They'll probably make some money. Not only that, at the same time, and Steve made a good point, at the same time when the Anthropic drama hits and the government, there's two parts to this story. Number one, the government says that they aren't going to use Anthropic because Anthropic's not, gonna support the government as much as they want. And then the other side of the story is actually another view, which is that Anthropic is just refusing to give the government internal information of their company. But I don't know, because I think the government, if they want to know, they're going to know. So I don't know if that's going to be an issue, but that's the story. There's a lot of drama around the Anthropic stuff where basically the government and everything else isn't going to, function too well there with Anthropic. And Anthropic running Claude Code, which is the best AI in the world right now. And we also have it here, the latest Claude Code over here on Prophecy. Let me just pull up a projection. Let's actually search up the stock. Let's search up the stock here. And let's do it with Claude, because that's how we roll. Let's go. But in that drama, you have the fact that Ask Sage is like a Claude Code, but it's specifically for the government. And it powers 16,000 teams, 100,000 Department of War users, 27 plus agencies, and 2,500 companies. And it's basically an AI that is running generative AI for the government. Okay. And you can build agents. It's got an agent builder. So the agents can go do things for you. And it's got OpenClaw hardening as a service. So it's got the ability to deploy things for software development, warfighting, cyber operations. It's like AI for government, and the government's already signed a bunch of deals for this. And so guess what? If the government's not working with Anthropic, maybe that means Ask Sage is going to get more revenue as they are growing. And who just acquired Ask Sage? BBAI. Boom, boom, boom. That might be really interesting as they're down to the support level. If you look at some of the projections on BBAI into the next few, you could see that you got projections on the company into the next year that are over 21%. Not as bullish as you'd expect. Some bullish projections the next week, next day even, and yeah, fairly bullish from Claude on BBAI. So we'll be watching there. All right, guys. So JZev, you got MRVL. Let me write it down. MRVL. El Coco Loco. Ryan, plumbing. Okay, it's plumbing. And you're number 4. All right, got you. Appreciate it, Ryan. Then let's learn the systems. I love it, Ryan. Okay. Yeah, excited for it. This next week, we're going to have a more focus on more systems. And let's keep it going. Let's keep it going. Yeah, so guitar-based singing says, I think stop limits are really important, but they don't work after hours. So I don't hold on to positions or overnight, et cetera, et cetera. So in order for your stop loss to work after hours, you have to do a stop order, do the stop loss, but do it on a platform that offers 24-hour trading. All right, so that could be maybe Interactive Brokers or Robinhood, for example. And then the order won't execute unless 2 things happen. Number 1, you have whole shares. And then number 2, so it can't be fractional. And then number 2, you have to what you need to do is you have to make sure that it's at a price that you set that actually hits that price. Now, when you want to set a stop loss for that, like after hours, is when you're in a position that you want that order to execute or the risk to be managed or the profits to be locked in after hours or when you're away from your computer, right? But how you implement that and really doing that, this is something we cover a lot. One of the things we do inside of StockMate a lot as well. If you guys haven't seen it, we have all of the lessons on technical and fundamental analysis. So if you want to know how to set those types of orders, we have all that stuff inside of StockMate in the A to Z library as well. We kind of go over that stuff in the basics section. If you go into the basics section here and you can see the limit orders, you can see the key concepts, how to set, building your watch list, risk management. It's over here in the order types. We kind of talk about that stuff. I love that stuff. But when it comes, this is one thing that would be helpful for you, Ryan, while you're managing your risk, creating systems. If you're an investor or trader, you want to watch my entries, watch my exits tomorrow at Market Open. This is for you as well, because you get it for free as a bonus. It's a free bonus when you're a part of StockMate. So we'll have some targets for the next week. We've had a lot of accuracy over the last few months. And if you want those targets, you'll get them inside of StockMate. We release them every Sunday. But this is a book that I wrote before ChatGPT existed. And if you go over here, Ryan, you could actually find that you can go to the mindset. We talk about the ordinary versus the profitable. So no plan, emotional, FOMO, pump and dumps versus having a trading plan, having a risk and reward vision, discipline, patience, stock that meets your criteria, that you learn and you profit. You don't just trade and profit, because you got to learn from every trade. So that's really important. The mindset, how do you actually frame your mindset? Someone ordinary mindset might hope for profits. They might follow the crowd. They might work really hard for their money or just earn so that they could spend money. Profitable mindset is someone that says, based on my analysis, is this a good deal? this could go up. I'll catch it before the uptrend potentially, or this is risky, but I can't miss out if it goes up is someone that says that's ordinary. Whereas profitable mindset says, plans, all that good stuff. Included as a bonus that you get alongside, learning technical analysis, fundamental analysis, and would love to see you there live at Market Open inside of StockMate. We'll be there live at 6:30 a.m. It's kind of early for you guys if you're in the Pacific Coast, but we have lots of Pacific Coast investors and traders that tune on in. And then if it's in the East Coast, you get to sleep in a little bit. I don't. I'm here from California, so I'll be there early. But we're there 6:30 a.m. every day, Monday through Friday. If you want to go tune on in. Again, huge sale there. It's not getting better than this. Second link in the description below to go. Make sure you can be there tomorrow morning or Monday morning at Market Open. Go take action. Simply take a look. Appreciate you all. If I earned your thumbs up, hit the like button. Do consider subscribing. And I'll see you guys in the next video.